today I'm in Valletta and I want to tell you a story about beheadings. There's quite a lot of beheading stories in Malta, I have to tell you. This is one of my favorites. So you can see behind me here the Grand Harbour area. Story I'm going to tell you dates from 1565, the Great Siege of Malta. 30, maybe 40,000 Ottomans have turned up and they are attacking the island of Malta. Defended it is by the Knights of St. John and the local Maltese in the main. Now, there's a fort, Fort St. Elmo. It's at the top of the Valletta Peninsula. It's in that direction. That fort bravely defended itself, or the Knights and the Maltese in it bravely defended the fort. But after a month, the fort fell and the Ottomans took over. A bit of a bloodbath ensued. They got the bodies of the Knights of St. John, and the story is that they floated the bodies, this sort of area here, the bodies were floated from there towards that direction, towards Fort St. Angelo, where the knights were, and they had crucifixes carved into their chests. And of course they were dead and they were bleeding all the way into the harbour. It is said that the sea turned red with their blood. This was to intimidate, to scare the knights in the fort, scaring them into surrendering, of course. But the head of the order was Jean de la Valette. He was the Grand Master at the time, and he was not a man to be intimidated. Oh no. So this horrible act happens and everyone thinks, oh good grief, look what's happened here with these knights being mutilated in this way. So de Valette is so furious about this that he orders Ottoman prisoners in the fort, in that area, to be rounded up, beheaded, and their heads, according to contemporary reports, the heads were placed into cannons and fired back over this side of the water, because at that time, remember, Valletta did not exist. The peninsula was pretty much just bare rough rock, and this peninsula, where Valletta is today, Mount Chibarras, that peninsula of Mount Chibarras was actually being used as a base by the Ottomans. So de Valette gets the heads of these Ottomans and has them fired over the water. They land here among the troops, the Ottoman troops. I mean, that's one of the greatest upheavals in history, I think. Now, this account has been questioned slightly, because if you put a head in a cannon and you fire it, would it not just kind of like disintegrate? But we do have contemporary reports of this happening. So historians today believe probably those heads were placed in something like catapults, and the catapults would have flung the heads over this side of the water among the Ottoman troops. Remember, this all started because of the mutilated knights, crucifixes carved in their chests, and they were floated, their bodies floated on wood down in the harbour as well. So one thing we can take from this story is that war is awful, and it leads people to do terrible things to each other. On that, I think we can agree. For more tales of the terrible and stories of the strange, follow Dark Malta Tours.